What's going on, guys? Army-Firedawg, and I am back with another review, this time, of the Harman and Kardon, the AEs. These are their, about their middle line tier with respect to the rest of their products of in-ear phones. As you can see, I use actually the Comply memory foam tips. I really can't just roll with their semicircle silicone. Just doesn't do much for it. But, moving on to the actual product, without any further ado, like I always like to start with the body of it. The actual frame of the buds themselves, I have zero complaints on. They're very well built, as of this part is actually aluminum. And with the back being a very soft rubber, that adds a nice kind of resonance to the overall sound. The horn is a straight stick style. As you can see, it doesn't curve at all. Which, I mean, it's okay, it fits into these. But the only downside, potential downside, to me I didn't have any issues, but it is slightly on the larger side of most horns. The average horn, I guess, was actually the size of this size of the bud rather than the horn side. So that could be a potential issue. So those of you with small ears, just be wary of this. If you decide to get yourself a pair, you might have some issues with it. Moving on down, we have a kind of a thin cable that I think could have been done better. If it was a flat cable, perfect. The reason I have an issue with it is because this cable has a lot of memory. And what I mean by this is, if it's bound up, which with someone like my inventory of headphones, these often are, in their box, they're usually kept like this, kind of round up. So when I uncoil it, as well, there you go already, it really keeps to its circle, and it tangles on its own self very easily. Now, if this is like your main earphone or something you listen to frequently, I don't think at all this will be an issue. Just with someone like an inventory like myself, I can't really give these the time to prevent the memory from happening. Okay. As far as a microphone goes, the microphone is very, very clean quality. Maybe on point with the Klipsch X7s, which are about my standard for a microphone. But the only issue I have is it's very flush. I don't like this style. I personally like the very easily identifiable buttons. Oftentimes I'll be fiddle farting here trying to figure out which one. All you get is for an indicator is a little small nub right here in the center. Which for me, that don't work. And also I have an Android device, so the volume controls, they don't work. So that's just empty button, so I'm trying to click around, trying to find the skip button. Onto the aux jack, you have also the aluminum cover in this part. It doesn't have any function to it. I think it's just for looks, but it does look nice. Now, onto the most important aspect of this guy, and that is the sound. And I will give a spoiler alert, it is amazing. But it's a niche kind of headphone, and I'll get to that in a second. But as always, I start with the highs, and I move down. The treble on these, I find peaks very, very quickly. What I mean by this is, if you're listening to music with a very pronounced treble section, a perfect example of this is Color of the Moon. I think the author's name is Alan Taylor, you can find it on YouTube. But the intro is a very high pitch, kind of bell sound. I can't think of what that instrument is, but it is very bright. It is very high. But on these, I didn't get that same kind of chill that other headphones will give me. But I can't knock that at all. As I'll continue on, it flows very nicely into the sound signature of these. So, moving on to the upper highs, or excuse me, the upper highs, just the lower highs, upper mids, that kind of section there, is it flows very nicely. I still think the highs are still something to be desired on these, but when you move on to the mids, there is no complaints. These are some of the most beautiful mids I've ever heard. Sub, my Bowers and Wilkins and Sennheisers. They're stunning. They're nice. It's a warm response. It's a very relaxing kind of sound. It's not jagged. It's not aggressive. It's just a very slow, kind of central kind of midline, from your upper mids to your lower treble, even to your upper bass. So I mean, I can talk about the mids all day, but perfection is what comes to mind with these, with the overall sound signature, and I'll get more on that later. Moving on to the bass line, as I already mentioned, the upper bass into the lower mids flows seamlessly. It's gorgeous. It's stunning. To the actual bass response, I find it actually be pretty slow. Like I'm waiting for a bass and I'll hit it, or I'll hear it hit, and then it kind of drags on. So in other words, the decay has a little bit more of a sluggishness than what you'd expect in an audiophile tier earphone, which on these, I am a firm believer that is not what they want to go for. So also, these retail for about 150 bucks. So in that range, you're competing with like the Klipsch X4s, the Shure with a microphone, and other similar kind of sound signatures to these. So you expect them to be that way. But from what I found and why I keep these are one of my main headphones for this reason. These are the best earphones I've ever listened to for relaxing, going to sleep. And so let's go back. Put it down for a sec. Remember how I said the midline and even the bass is very sluggish and slow and just kind of central on the mids? Think about that. You're going to bed. You're wanting to relax. You're wanting to unwind. So what kind of better sound? Do you want a very pumpy bass hitting you? No. Heck no. Do you want highs piercing you, kind of giving you an adrenaline rush when you sleep? No. You want it to be kind of slow. You want it to be relaxing. You want it to be central as you go to sleep. Or central for other reasons. Anyway. But like when you put on a speaker, you put on a rain sound or a thunderstorm sound. Why? Because it's relaxing. It's kind of just has its own kind of pace, which these have wonderfully. So in that regard, for relaxing and listening to and just enjoying, these are absolutely on par with some of even much higher price points. Then as far as audiophile listening, you can still do it. I mean, you could still kind of nitpick, but you won't get the same critical listening aspect. Like there's a lot of details I do know exist in songs that these kind of missed, but not important. But this is actually one of my shorter reviews, but these are really easy ones to sum up. I have zero complaints with the AEs, as I will if you like to listen to a pair. I doubt you would either if you understand that these are for kind of relaxing, enjoying yourself, and well, about going to sleep, because they'll put you to sleep. But that is all for me for now, my friends. As always, Army-Firedawg. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget that like button, share with your friends, or if you really like my content, hit that subscribe button and keep yourself on the field in. As always, stay safe. And if you really like my content, hit that subscribe button so you can still keep yourself filled in. But as always, I'm Army-Firedawg. It's been a pleasure talking. Stay safe.